Actually, we didn't do hardly any fairing at all. The setup really went pretty well.
There's been a boatyard here on this site since around 1920. A man named Conrad Anderson, he founded the yard and ran the yard till sometime in the, I guess it was 1945, when Art Glenn built this existing building. And in 1950, my dad, Ed, and mother, Marty, and their partner, Don Harder, bought this property and started Ed and Boat Company. Then the city, of course, saved it in 2004, a grassroots effort. And now we have a not-for-profit, the Gig Harbor BoatShop, that inhabits the yard.
Is Thunderbird number 2. It was originally built here where it's sitting right now in 1959. It was built by Ed Hoppen, who was the builder of all these boats, or the early original ones. We found it on the north end of Lake Union up in a residential area in horrible shape.
I don't think anybody realized that the amount of rot in the boat and how deteriorated it had become. Of course, they weren't meant to last 50 years.
Major reconstruction. A lot of it is the original.
You couldn't sustain a young nonprofit like this without a dedicated core of volunteers. And ours isn't large, but they're dedicated.
I still have the tools. I dug around, found my old boat building tools, and put them in a toolbox, and I came down here.
It's a lucky boat, and we're lucky to have it. The plan is that once we get the mast and boom back on it, it'll become a program boat here to get the public out and enjoying their boatyard with their boat. And that's the plan.
Jamie and Bill and half a dozen others have been instrumental, spent thousands of hours over the last 2 years restoring that boat. And what I always say to people is, you don't have a boatyard without a means of getting boats in and out of the water. And I think anybody that watches this get Thunderbird number 2 pirouette down the beach, they'll understand why a boatyard is centered around the railways.
It is interesting to see how close we came to the red lines that we had before. The red line is from the lofting.
I mean, we'll do boat building programs that speak to the past, but we'll also do boat building, boat repair, and maybe on the water programs that are more contemporary and speak to existing contemporary culture. And so it's a pretty exciting blend on our waterfront here. What's developing, very unique, I think, for small communities, even nationwide.
So that it's not on the other one? So it's not on the one that's on the... Oh, like this.
Ben Seaborn is the one that designed the boat, and the U.S. Plywood Association, American Plywood Association at the time had put out a plea for, or a request for builders or designers to come up with a project kind of boat that a person of moderate means and basic moderate skills could build as a boat in their backyard. And many of these were built that way. These boats sail very effectively in light air and heavy air. And there's been little things that have tweaked them over the years to kind of, you know, improve and so forth. This boat will be original, historically restored, original state. We won't put the Traveler back in it. It only had a Barney post when it was launched, and that's one of the things that, you know, soon changed after it was launched. I'm sure that for effective racing, etc., you know, they put a Traveler on the boats and aluminum masts and things like that. But the basic boat is this 50-plus-year-old boat is the same, and they still give fits to, you know, boats many thousands of times, you know, their value.
Hopefully this boatyard, Eden Boatyard, will be a center of a working waterfront for some time to come.